What you just heard was the Donner DST-600 and the Fender American Special Strat. Now the Donner is around $200 to $250. It was made in China, whereas the Fender Strat was made in America. I bought it back in 2009 new, and that was around $1,200 to $1,300. Now back in 2009, beginner guitars, well, good ones, were just like unattainable. They weren't that great and they didn't sound very good, but in like the 2020s, that's when things kind of changed. Beginner to affordable guitars are just much more attainable, affordable, and pretty damn good depending upon which one we're talking about. And in this case, we're talking about the Donner DST-600. Now honestly, Donner has created a whole other generation of guitarists thanks to their affordable and pretty playable guitars. And I've been mostly impressed by all of them. I've played almost all of their guitars from when they first started out as a company. I think I started demoing their stuff around like 2020, 2021. And compared to like other brands like Harley Benton, whatever they're called, Donner just blew all the other sort of Chinese affordable guitars out of the water. Now they don't feel cheap. There are some parts of it you're like, all right, but you sort of understand that when the guitar's under like 300, 200 bucks. But out of all the ones I've played, the 600 has by far been my favorite. Plays great, besides the super light strings they give you, but it's just ready to go, especially for someone starting out. And that's sort of who they market these kind of guitars for. And rightfully so, because a beginner guitar player doesn't want to spend a lot of money if they're not even sure they're gonna keep playing the guitar. So these guitars are just a great place to start, but they can even be for more than that, which I'll get into in this video. Now, if I were to take it on the road, or if I was doing a lot of sessions with it, I'd 100% get it set up. I might even replace a few things, but that's something I do with most new guitars. I always get them set up. I may not replace things, but you get what I'm saying. Now, although I'm leaning very positively towards the cheaper and affordable guitar, the Fender Strat is far more comfortable and nicer to play. And honestly, it better be that way, because if you're spending upwards of or over $1,000 on a guitar, it better be pretty damn comfortable to you and sound pretty good. So as important as it is for a guitar to sound good, it needs to be way more comfortable, in my opinion. Playing out of a killer amp, most guitars are gonna sound good through that. That's why feel and comfortability is the most important thing, because I'm gonna sound my best when I'm the most comfortable with it. So now that you're sort of aware of a few of these things, I wanna jump into some sound comparisons so you can hear the two back to back. I'm gonna run clean, crunch, and overdrive comparisons, and I'm gonna be running through the Milkman Sound, the Amp 50, and then when I get into those like crunchy overdrives, I'm gonna be using some pedals as well. And after that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about specs, and then we're really gonna get into what sort of guitar would be right for you and what would be the better option. So after playing these a little bit more, I gotta say the Donner feels way better than it's worth. It doesn't have a lot of sharp frets like a lot of beginner guitars do. I mean, I even played a different Donner guitar and those frets were a little bit sharp as well. Now the neck is a tiny bit slimmer than the Fender. They both have maple necks and alder bodies. Now the pickups are really what set these two guitars apart. So the Fender actually has custom shop Texas special single coil Strat pickups, whereas the Donner has pure vintage, I think 50s to 60s style pickups with a split coil humbucker on the bridge. I personally love a humbucker in the bridge on a Strat. I kind of wish I had one on the Fender, but that's just a really big standout feature to me for the Donner. Now the Fender definitely sounds a lot more clear, consistent, and concise, whereas the Donner has just a little bit more inconsistencies to it when it comes to tone and volume, but nothing super alarming. So the real question here is, and the main point of this video is, which guitar would be more worth it? And that really depends upon your situation. But let me tell you what I would do if I had neither of these guitars and I was in the market for a Stratocaster. If I had some extra cash laying around and I was looking to more so invest in a guitar, let's say I'm doing this a little bit more professionally, playing a lot more gigs, doing a lot more sessions, you would probably prefer a little bit more of a reliable guitar, so then I would just buck up for the Fender Strat. Now granted, it's only between $1,200 to $1,300. That may sound like a lot to some, but compared to other series and style Strat Fender guitars, it can get very expensive, and like the $1,200 to $1,300 range is low, unfortunately. But now let's just say for fun that the Fender Strat was over $2,000 and that made the budget a little bit more tighter. I think I would just go with the Donner and get it set up real nice and maybe even replace a few parts like pickups and things like that. That's not to say the pickups sound bad in this thing, but that's just what I would do. So if you have a decent amp, some gear, and the right chops, you could get a similar, if not the same sound as the Fender Strat with the Donner. And you'd also save a good amount of cash doing so as well. But if you really want that Fender brand and quality, depending on the series, and you have the extra dough, I'd go Fender. Like I said, it really depends upon your budget, but honestly, both choices, you really can't go that wrong. Especially with the Donner, because it's probably the most well-built Donner guitar I've played and demoed / reviewed on my channel. So let me know down in the comments which guitar you would go for and what you think about the differences. Now please check out some of these other gear / comparison demos that I've done in the past. And thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.